welcome to Discover You podcast. This is a community where you can show up exactly as you are, learn, grow, and discover how to stand in the power of who you want to be. I'm your host, Shar. Welcome, and let's dive in and discover you. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Discover You podcast. We're on episode 2 of the podcast. I am so excited to have you here for episode 2. If you're new to the podcast, be sure to check out all the social media links down below. Follow me over on the Shar_way on Instagram. All my links are down below for you. And of course, follow along the podcast at any of your listening devices, Spotify or iTunes. So today we are going to talk about healthy eating, which, yes, I know, sounds like a really simple concept, but surprisingly, people actually really struggle with this entire process. The entire existence of healthy eating is just like almost paralyzing to some people. So I'm going to talk to you guys about what healthy eating is, how to optimize healthy eating without having that stress and anxiety around it, some of my nutrition tips and wellness and all of that, and also talking a little bit about the culture around healthy eating and how people tend to demonize food and talk negatively about food. So we're going to kind of dive into all of that stuff, talking about how to live your best life eating and nourishing your body, because food is nourishment, but it's also love. Like, I love food. I'm such a foodie. If you know me in person, you know I'm a foodie and I love to eat, and I eat more than most people I know, which may seem shocking to you, but it is entirely true. So I hear all the time from people, all the time. They're like, how do you eat so healthy? How do you do that? How do you choose to, green smoothie and eat balanced meals? And I get that question a lot from you guys of how it looks so simple and easy. And honestly, I think a lot of the time people just really overthink the concept of like putting nourishing food in their body. That's the thing, is it's not necessarily about this like idea of having to eat as clean and green as possible. Yes, those things are important, but that's not the be all and end all of healthy eating. So I really want to kind of just take that off the table right now and let go of the concept of like you have to eat healthy in every meal, in every portion, because at the end of the day, we're human and we are pleasure-seeking beings. So we want to eat food that is so delicious. Sometimes you don't want to care about the health of something. You just want to shove the chocolate in your face or eat the potato chips or like have a cheeseburger or like go to McDonald's. Like, we are all guilty of this, and there shouldn't be guilt around it. That's the problem, is that we kind of have this concept of like shaming ourselves for wanting bad food. As I say, bad with quotation marks in my fingers. Like, it's just real silly, you guys. We tend to have this horrible demonizing idea that it's not okay to eat these things. And you know what? It's okay to eat the chocolate cake. It's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay right now. So with all of that said, let's dive into the podcast, talking about all these different things. We'll dive more into this food demonizing concept in a little bit here. But what I did want to talk to you guys about, so healthy eating, what that looks like is choosing to nourish and fill your body with nutrient-dense food. Foods that are going to optimize your energy, how you feel, your gut health, your brain health. So that is at the forefront of what healthy eating is. In my personal opinion, I choose to eat healthy and eat nourishing food because I feel my greatest and feel my best when I eat those foods. So that's really where my healthy eating journey has always, come from. And I'm lucky I was in a home where my mom was very adamant on getting your vegetables and your fruits in, and she always really valued those things. So it's kind of something that's been ingrained in me for a long time. But if you're in a position where that wasn't your story and you're looking to start to nourish your body, start to heal your body with food, really putting the focus on healthy eating at the forefront of feeling your best. So not worrying about the calories on the scale, not worrying about the, calories in the food, not worrying about changing your physique because of healthy eating. Healthy eating truly is the focus of feeling good in your body. So that's like step number one, especially like it's fine to have, a goal, or you're planning to lose weight or tone up or whatever. Those goals are great. But if you don't have a healthy relationship with your food, healthy relationship with your diet, then you're never going to be successful in that, because food is so important and integral in maintaining your body weight and maintaining a lot of different factors with like weight loss. So it's really important, just a disclaimer here, that if you are struggling with food or diet or weight, talk to a professional, see a dietitian. Really understanding your habits and your relationship with food is so integral as we move through this podcast, and just talking about food, because sometimes it can be a really stressful topic. People have different triggering things around food. So it's really circumstantial and specific to what you're going through. So one of the main reasons that I love to eat healthy is because of my mental health. So I talked about that in episode 1. If you guys missed that, go back and listen to episode 1 talking about my mental health journey and struggles. But I really, really value food as medicine. Like, it is a natural plant medicine. If you're getting optimal veggies and fruits and just nutrient dense stuff, it is so beneficial to your body, for like vitamins, minerals, all that stuff. But it really is a factor in mental health and really supporting what happens in your brain, because your serotonin is actually created in your stomach. So when you're eating food, it is creating a serotonin trigger if it is a highly inflaming food. So specifically, things like gluten is very inflaming to the gut, which can produce the serotonin and start to shift how that serotonin is transferred to your brain and how much of it is transferred to your brain. So it's really mindful to kind of think about, okay, like if I'm eating this food and having this mindfulness around it, okay, I'm eating, I don't know, let's say cheese bread. So yes, it is important to satiate and love what you're eating, but are you noticing that maybe your gut and your body is not feeling great after, or are you feeling really sluggish after? So it can be said for the same thing, like when you have sugar or you eat, let's say greasy Chinese food, you end up getting that crash after where you're just like, oh, like you just want to like hit your head on the table because you're so exhausted. So that is very indicative of what's happening in the body when you're putting things that are, not as healthy into the body. And again, these are things that you are totally allowed to eat, and there's no shame around indulging in Chinese food or pizza or cake or whatever. But it's just kind of being mindful that maybe these things are not necessarily serving your body in that moment. And even looking, if you're having further gut issues or health issues, maybe there's something that you need to take out of your diet or only have once in a while to ensure that you're not going to have inflammation in your gut, inflammation in your body, and not feeling your greatest. So that's something I had to learn with gluten and dairy. They're just not things that really sit well in my body. I can eat gluten. I'm not celiac. I would say I'm probably more gluten sensitive, but I have had no actual like confirmed diagnosis that that's existing, because when you're sensitive to something, there's no marker for that, and there's no way of actually showing it. That's kind of been my journey. And then I chose to cut out dairy as well, because at the same time I couldn't figure out if it was gluten or dairy. So I was really trying to just navigate, okay, like what is working and what's not? Am I getting like indigestion and burping and pain from these things that I'm eating? And yes, I love cheese. Yes, I love gluten so much, and I miss it so much. But I had to make a decision for myself, for my body, that it wasn't worth eating it. And that might be where you are, and it might not. If you don't have food issues and food tendencies and food intolerances, then absolutely you eat that stuff and you enjoy that stuff. So I think that the key thing to take away from what healthy eating looks like is trying to find balanced meals throughout the day. So you want to ensure that you're having a good amount of carbohydrates to keep you going, keep you energized, protein to support your body, vitamins and minerals in the vegetables that you're choosing, And then adding in healthy fats, whether that's like peanut butters, olive oil, nuts, seeds, that kind of stuff. So it's really a good focus to kind of think like, okay, how can I get all of these things into one meal? And this is kind of the focus of like each meal should kind of look that way and have that template. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have an intolerance to something, or you need more carbs than someone else does, or you need less carbs than someone else. So it is so specific and about really tuning into your body, noticing what feels really good for you. So for me, I find that I need a lot of carbs to sustain my energy levels. I have a very fast metabolism, so my body is like burning food like crazy. So for me, I eat about probably double the carbs my boyfriend eats, and he is like double my weight. Maybe not double my weight, but in relative here, we're just talking that I actually eat more carbs than he does in a day, and I am way smaller. So it just goes to show you, like, tuning in and really feeling, okay, like, what does my body need? Do I feel better eating this, more of this? Do I feel better eating less of this? And this could go for any dietary restriction, whether it's an intolerance, an allergy, a lifestyle choice like vegan or vegetarian. So just kind of finding that mindful idea around food, because there's no one template fits all, no one size fits all. It is so specific to your journey. And as you start to bring in this mindfulness around your eating habits and actually like tuning into what you're eating versus just shoving food in your face, it's like, how do you actually feel after you eat it? How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? How does like physically your body feel? Because the more that we, eat those satiating meals, those like not so healthy satiating meals, and I hate that terminology because there's not really a nice way to say like unhealthy food, because it's still giving you some nutrient value. It's just not as nutrient dense. As you eat those things, they can be very inflaming to the body. Like, we're not really designed to be consuming a lot of sugar, a lot of gluten, a lot of man-made dairy products. Like, our bodies don't really know how to metabolize those. And some people have no issue, but others do. They have a lot of inflammation. So these can even be things like inflammation in your gut, so unhealthy, leaky gut syndrome. It can be inflammation into your joints, so you might have lots of pain or discomfort. So there's a lot of things to kind of start to look at as you peel back the layers of your healthy eating habits or your non-healthy eating habits, and just kind of discovering, okay, like maybe these things aren't as, optimal and nourishing and supportive as, you wish they would be. So it's sometimes having that reality check around, like, okay, like I love the cinnamon buns, but like they make me feel really like inflamed or yucky the next day. So like a good example would be like last night we ordered pizza, and I ordered gluten-free pizza. I still have cheese on it. Cheese is like, it's touch and go. If I eat too much cheese, the bathroom is my friend. If I don't eat too much, we're okay. But however, this morning, I always make sure that I drink lots of water all day anyway. But then I woke up this morning and I have the biggest bags under my eyes because of the salt retention from the high salt food. So I'm not saying that pizza is bad. I'm not demonizing pizza because I love me some pizza. However, it is inflaming to my body because there is so much sodium in it. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is really noticeable because you can see it in the bags under your eyes and the puffiness in your face. Sometimes people get the inflammation into their joints. Especially if you're consuming a high salt diet all the time, you're going to have more pain, you're going to have more inflammation. That's just science. That's just what happens. So something to be, again, mindful about. Talk to a dietitian, understand your health needs, your health requirements for your body, because like I said, not one size fits all. Everything is so specific to your body and to what works for you. So it's really just kind of uncovering that and choosing to put nutrients and health above all, having that be like the main focus. So when I say that, it's like, okay, shoot for your 3 meals a day to be, nutrient dense and have all of those combinations of fats, carbs, proteins, and vegetables or fiber, whatever you want to call it. But know that it's okay to not have those things. Like I have meals without veggies sometimes, but then I have a green smoothie in the morning, so it counteracts that. So I think it's really crucial to just kind of like figure out what's working for you. How can you get your nutrients in a day? How can you add more things that are more supportive to your health and your body? The more things you can add, and it doesn't have to be like, when I say that, it doesn't have to be overwhelming where you're like, okay, like I need to get all of these different healthy, maca powder and collagen powder and protein powder. And like, you don't have to make it complicated. It's just kind of finding what is attainable for you. And that looks very specific and different to each person. So for me, I really love to green smoothie in the morning, getting in really high dense, like good like spinach. I do pineapple, parsley, celery, ginger, apple or pear, and I get that all in my smoothie with a vegan protein powder, and I drink that first thing in the morning. So like I am really into green smoothies, and really any smoothie. You don't have to make it as green as mine is. I just love how nutrient dense it is, how supportive it is. Parsley has amazing healthy properties. So if you guys want to learn more about that, check out my YouTube channel for videos. And also check me over on Instagram because I do talk about my green smoothie a lot because I'm literally obsessed with it. It's so good. But like really getting a packing punch of nutrients in the morning, and then I'll have more of like a carb heavy meal like mid-morning, and then I'll have my lunch containing of like a carbohydrate of choice, whether it's potatoes or rice, then maybe chicken or beef, and then a bunch of veggies. And then kind of a similar thing for dinner. Maybe I want to have pasta for dinner because I ate, really good foods all day. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have pasta and have less vegetables and have more of a carb dense, heavy meal. So it's kind of just navigating different meals and really uncovering what works for you, what feels good. Like, again, it's not about fitting it all into a box. It's really about just like what brings you so much joy, because you want to be enjoying the food you're eating. Even if it's healthy, it doesn't have to be crappy. It can be absolutely delicious, which I personally find it is. And when you start to kind of think that mindfulness around it, change the language around healthy eating, it's like, okay, it's not just healthy eating. It's like I'm nourishing my body to feel optimal, to feel my best. That's really the focus of to me, what healthy eating is and what it should be, because we get caught up in these like terminologies and this like language and food culture, and it's really detrimental to our mental health, to our body positivity, and just feeling crappy about ourselves, honestly. Like the culture on social media and like the pressure is immense sometimes. So even I feel this pressure too. I honestly do, like where I just feel the weight of like having to look a certain way and being conditioned your entire life to think that you need to have a certain body type to be sexy, to be attractive, to be in, absolute body positivity. But the thing is with that is that like, yes, nutrients and healthy eating are important, but making sure that we're not hating ourselves in the process is also really important. I think that diet culture has really put a harshness around food, and that this demonizing culture of like food is bad and you shouldn't eat those bad things and you shouldn't eat sugar and you shouldn't eat these things. And absolutely, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat them. You should moderate these things so like they're once in a while, so it's not like you're having these things every day if you're not feeling your best. But if you feel good eating cake every day, then eat cake every day. Like, it really, again, depends on your specific body. So I think that we fall into this trap of like diet culture and shaming food and having guilt around food. I know guilt is like a big one for me. It's been such a journey over the last 10 years of really eating healthy, discovering what I want to eat, how I feel my best. And even I fall into those traps of like obsessive nature where it's like, oh, is that like not safe for me, and like stress around like not eating good enough or healthy enough. So really working on like letting go of that guilt and that shame, because I think we all have it, and it's just literally from the shit that is fed to us, like the things that are fed to us in social media, in parents or friends of like, oh, I need to like look like this and be like this. And it's like, how about we just be authentically ourselves and feel good in ourselves? Because there's not shame or bad things around food. At least there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be this desire and need to make ourselves feel guilty for enjoying something that feels really satisfying, because there's something really wrong about that. Why would you ever want to take away from the pleasure you have in something and the joy you have in something? Like, that's like saying, oh, I'm going to feel guilty about booking a vacation that I've worked hard to pay for, or I'm going to feel guilty about like having a great sexual experience. Like, we would never guilt those things. So why do we guilt the food that we put in our mouths into our body to feel good, to feel a certain way, to feel nourished and satisfied and happy? There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that, again, we're all guilty for it. We all have these tendencies and guilt, and I shouldn't have ate so much, and I shouldn't have drank so much wine. And like, we all say those things about whatever food it might be. But is that really fair to ourselves when we're just trying to navigate the best we can to understand our bodies and to choose healthy options when we have the option to? But sometimes you just want to indulge, and that's totally okay. So again, just being really mindful of the language you have with food, the thoughts you have around food, the food that you're buying and putting in your body. Are you feeling your best? Are you feeling your most optimal? Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you eat cheeseburgers every day or if you eat chicken and rice every day. I only care about you feeling your absolute best, absolute amazing. And I think that is really what should be the focus, is feeling phenomenal. Because don't we want to wake up and eat food that we love, but also feel freaking fantastic? I know I do. I want to be excited about the food I'm eating. And yes, food is nourishment. I get it. We need food to sustain and to live. But like, why would we just do that when we can really love it and enjoy it? So I'm going to leave you guys with those thoughts. I will be sharing more videos of smoothies and healthy eating tips and food on my YouTube channel. So be sure to check out the link below on that. Also over on Instagram, I do lots of different things on there about healthy eating all the time. And of course, be sure to follow along the podcast. Share this with anyone else who you think might be needing to hear these things. And of course, I will see you guys in next week's episode on the Discover You podcast. Bye, guys.